There we go. Now we've got audio. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Scott. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well tonight. As you can see here, we have quite the project ahead of us here. My goal tonight is to get at least 2 of these cars fully decaled. Either it's gonna be probably these 2, so I might as well just take this one out of the way. It's got because I want to do 1 of each. Nice, Adam. Very nice. Hope you enjoy that. That's Train Fest, right, Adam? If I'm remembering you correctly. B&CCS Ironwood. Good evening. Good to have you. Let's see who else is here. Gonna truck it. Good to have you here. You're delivering in Binghamton. Oh, next to Lackawanna Station. Very nice. Enjoyed that. But yeah, so the goal tonight is to get two of these cars fully decaled. Whether or not that's realistic, we're gonna find out. But that's the goal. So we've got I'm trying a new camera setup thing here. Rail days. Gotcha. Oh yeah, Train Fest isn't until like September, I think. At Golden Spike Tower, very nice. Yeah, that'll be cool. Someday I might get out to North Platte just to see it, because it's just massive. These decals, these are from Fusion Scale Graphics. That's who I've been using. I've also used Bill Brillinger at PDC.ca, Precision Design Company. These decals are good too. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and put a link in there, Garrett? But Fusion Scale has done a good job for me. I did a set from them a while back, and I wasn't a big fan of how thick the decals were, but I think mostly that was because I was not doing it right. Try to get this for half of a 8.5 by 11 sheet, which for me was an HO car, 4 N scale box cars, 3 locomotives with space to spare. Ran me, I think, $25. So very reasonable, fairly reasonable. I do think that was on sale though. I think normally it's closer to $30 for a half sheet, and like $40 or $45 for a full sheet. But it's very affordable, absolutely. All the information is on the link that Garrett sent. So it's and basically you just have to design your graphics in some program that allows it to be a vector art file. So I personally use Adobe Illustrator, but you could also use what's the other? Inkscape, I think is the other big one. Excuse me. Frog in my throat. There it is. There's the prices. Thank you, Garrett. So very reasonable. But yeah, as long as it's in a vector art type, and they are able to, and it's one of the file types that they say on their webpage, you just basically Corel Draw. That's the other big one that they have on their website. They have Illustrator and Corel as the 2 main ones. And then you just it's a link within the order page, and or not a link, upload on the order page, and you upload the file, and then they'll let you know if there's any issues that you need to fix. Oh goodness, excuse me. But it's good. I'm not sure if they make stickers. I don't believe so, but I don't know. And yeah, like Garrett said, if a full sheet is not enough for you, they can do larger, and they also can do metallic, but it costs you more. So they're very good, and they've worked out very well for me so far. So so anyways, so what we have here is we have an Atlas Trainman 50-foot two-door boxcar. This is going to be representing a two-door PS1 purchased in the 1960s. I think I have my years 1963? 62. Built in 1962. So, as you can see, I did a little bit of pre-weathering because the roof on the existing car was already metal silver. So I painted it black, and then I just kind of chipped away some of the paint before I put down my gloss coat, my initial gloss coat. So we've got a little bit of pre-weathering done. Because I did it a little bit on accident at first, and then I was like, oh, actually, that looks really good. And I just kind of just went with it. But so this is going to be representing a PS1 50-foot two-door boxcar built in 1962. And I'm going to... I have decals for 2 of those, but I only have one of the cars right now. So we're going to do one of them for now. And then the other car here, this car, this is a Pullman Standard 5344 square foot 50-foot boxcar. These are one of the most common incentive per diem cars that were going around in the 70s and 80s. A lot of railroads, big and small, actually a lot of small roads in particular, purchased 5344s as well as a few other boxcar types and used them along with the incentive per diem rules. Basically, they rented out their railcar fleet to other railroads because there was a national shortage of boxcars, kind of. And that allowed the smaller roads to make profit and the larger roads to move goods. So good. I really need, hang on. Give me a second here. Okay, I think I've gotten the frog out of my throat. Sorry for that. Oh man, I'm not sure what the deal is with that. But so that's what we're modeling here tonight. That's what we're going to be decaling, and that's what I've got the decals set up here for. So I don't know what do we think that I should do first. So here, so for reference, this is that's what the 53 or that's what the PS1 is going to look like. And that, oops. Come on, give it back to me. There it is. That is roughly what the 5344 is going to look like. Although actually this is not accurate, the 5344, because I changed the font before I actually sent it for print to a more modern font. So that's roughly what they're going to both look like and all. But I don't know, what do we want to start with? Do I want to start with the 5344 or the PS1? You know what? I think we'll start with the 5344 because I am very excited to see how that comes out. And also, it's going to take me the most time because I have a ton of little details. Actually, let me quickly blow up the 5344 image here and move it around the screen so you guys can see all of the insane level of detail that I put on this car. Let's do that. There we go. So you can see, obviously I've got all the car data, you know, capacity, load limit, lightweight, all of that goodness. I also went ahead and recreated the Pullman Standard build plate logo for that bottom corner. You can see it right below the bottom rung of the ladder. I also did add in the little arrow saying lift here and the information about the brake shoes. What else do I have in here? Let's see, I've got the 50K. I've got all the door details, including the safety device here for the latches. Secure both when moving car. Down on the other side, same information. Yeah, you got the plate C, the COTS boxes. I went ahead and did everything because why not? So now let's go ahead and shrink that right back down. Hello? Can you hear me now? How long was there no audio for? Hopefully not too long. Okay, yeah, I hit undo one too many times, which undid me unmuting myself. Okay, good. So I'm not too long. Okay, good. Thank goodness. I got really worried for a minute there that 30 seconds to a minute. Okay. I don't think I said anything important in the last minute, so I think we're good. Okay. The only thing that I said of any value in the last minute is that I cut out this is the decals for one side of the car that I cut out here. We're going to start with B&CCS 23103. I don't know why 2300 or 23,000 series is I don't know about that truck. I don't know. Hey, you know what? What I might do though, at some point, and hopefully before too long, my goal is to get big enough and get enough of a following and enough of you guys convinced that my railroad is good that we can petition Chris Palmieri to get a Home Shops car with B&CCS lettering on it, because I think that would be pretty cool. And then, I don't know if I want to buy it for y'all. That'll be up to you guys to get it. But it'll be factory available, which would be pretty awesome. So that's the long-term goal here, as well as just having fun. Alright, let me actually pull up so it's nice and big on my screen. That way I can make sure I'm getting everything in the right place. So yeah, I said I cut out this, and then the only other thing that I said while I was muted is I threatened to pontificate on the merits of modeling the Poughkeepsie Hospital branch, like I threatened to do on Paul's live stream. Yeah, that's when I hit 1K, I'm definitely going to be doing some HO and N scale B&CCS giveaways, and I'll be sure to do all the decaling and stuff live on stream. I'll probably give away, I don't know, I might give away 2 HO and 4 N scale 4 N scale cars, and I might have it be a couple of options, but that's the goal, because I'm actually not too far off. I'm just shy of 700 subscribers, I believe, which that's pretty I never thought that I would get this far, to be honest. Never thought I would get this many people who are like, yeah, this guy's good enough for me to click that button. So, Kyle, good evening, my friend. How are you doing tonight? Hopefully well. I am working on decaling my B&CCS PS5344 boxcars. Or at least one of them for tonight. We're going to see how far I get. Alright, let's start with... What do I want to start with? Well, that's good to hear. What do I want to start with? You know what? Let's start with the Pullman Standard mark, because why not? Because I'm actually very proud of how I recreated that. So. And by the way, Garrett or Paul, I don't think Paul's here yet, but Garrett or Paul, if you guys ever want my file for the Pullman Standard logo, you know, the build plate, just let me know. I can shoot it over to you for any of your projects. Oh, yes. Yes, I can. That actually makes a ton of sense. Thank you for pointing that out to me. There we go. Now you can actually see what the heck I'm doing. Thank you for that. Alright. Although, I don't know, with how small this all is on stream, I still don't know if you'll be able to see anything. I really do need to upgrade to a better camera. That way you can actually see the detail. There we go. Off of that. That just goes right under that first rung. And I'm also going to, because I think I have the capability, if I remember correctly, I have the power. See if I just remember how to do this. In due time, absolutely. But, I mean, this is number 25 of these live streams, these semi-week or weekly live streams. I've only missed a couple weeks, which means we are half a year into this live streaming journey regularly. Which, that's wild, by the way. That I've been doing this for half a year now for you guys. I'm super happy to be doing it for half a year. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm glad you all have stuck with me. But it's been great. Dennis Tweezer hands. I did remember how to do it. Okay, cool. So now let me pull this back into frame. And now it's at least a little bit more visible for you all. There's the Pullman Standard off of the decal paper. Now I just got to get it down into the corner here. Yeah, 25. I don't know why I decided to start numbering them when I first started, but I was like, you know, that'll be fun to kind of keep track of how many we've done and stuff like that. And I realized when I was putting in the stream information last night to set it up that if we're at 25 and I've missed a couple weeks, it's been at least half a year. I don't remember when I started doing this. I don't remember what month that was. It's easy enough to go back and look, but I just don't feel like doing it right now. But I'm just really happy with how the community has grown in the past half year. I've gotten to know you guys a lot better, and that feels really good to me. Right, there's the Pullman Standard logo in place. Okay. Exactly 6 months ago? Wow. That's crazy. It's exactly 6 months. Well, if you create genuine content, they will come. True that. James and Paul, good evening, my friends. Glad to have you here for the 6-month streamiversary, I guess we're discovering. I'm working on this PS5344 for the B&CCS. I got the first decal pretty well on there at this point. I'm just fine-tuning it. And that is the Pullman Standard logo. Module 3 of 4, 100% done. Awesome. Great news to hear, Paul. Good stuff. I'm going to steal a joke from Garrett at the end of your stream, which is that you might just be able to get a little bit of sleep before Sydney. Sounds like good night. Forget. If I had thought about it beforehand, I would have had something ready, but I really don't have anything ready to give away right now, unfortunately. Otherwise, I totally would. I totally would, Kyle. There's the link to the first stream. Oh, jeez. I mean, it's probably about the same. What was I working on then, I wonder? I'm just going to click it. Oh, jeez. No one told me that I knocked my lamp into the way of the camera. Come on, guys. You gotta yell at me. For now, I'm gonna do this as well to just further improve visibility. I guess it is, Paul, yeah. Because when I started doing this, you jumped over to Monday nights as well. What was I working on this first stream? Oh, I was working on weathering the home shops cars. Hey, what do you know? What a way to bring it kind of full circle here. That I'm decaling up a freelance car. Congratulations, James. That's awesome. Yeah, first of the don't show. What was my first ever stream? Oh, jeez, I don't know if I want to know. It was probably not very watchable. I missed it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I do remember this live stream. Actually, I do remember this. This is that Garrett just linked my first ever stream. I genuinely remember that because that was I was my summer semester at school at RPI, and I was in a dorm that had some little like study rooms, and basically no one was using them because the summer semester was not super heavy on like studying. 7 p.m. every Monday, don't forget. Yes. I have to not forget. And I'm bad at that, James. I'm bad at forgetting. And actually 7 p.m. means that I can hop in for a little while before Paul's stream. I'm sure we've had this conversation before. I'm sure we have. Alright, let's get the name going on here. One of RT's layout during an op session. That's cool. But yeah, so that live stream was during my summer semester at school, and I was in in just a little study room using just the webcam that I have up here for my face now. And it was like really awkwardly set up on my computer. My computer was like looking down. It was like very, very janky. And it was very echoey in that room, so I'm sure the audio was terrible. But I think that was me detailing that flat car. I think I weathered it a bit, and I think I added some chains onto it, but very cool. 2 peas in a pod, yeah. Alright, don't look at the first video. No, don't do that. Look at the first video only and only if you want to die of cringe. No, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. It's not very easy to watch because it's very poorly recorded, because I was, I think, 14 or 15 at the time. But it was not for like never having made a video in my life before. It's not horrendous, but it's certainly not up to my standards nowadays. That's for sure. Zero editing, zero like ability to really set up a shot well. But it was alright. Yeah, I know. That's what's crazy to me, is that it's been almost 10 years since I joined the platform here to really start making stuff. Actually, it probably has been over 10 years, because I had an old channel that, of course, being, you know, a 12-year-old on the internet in my time period, I started on YouTube by making Minecraft gaming videos. Minecraft and Geometry Dash and stuff like that. And I won't even say the name, because then someone will find it, and I don't want that to happen. But more optimistic about it than you should have been. Yeah, faith in Bachman Easy Track is faith misplaced. It's fine for like temporary setups. Like, it's fine for like around the Christmas tree or something. But my layout was made of Bachman Easy Track for far too long. Despite all the issues that I have with this layout, it still works better than my Bachman Easy Track layout. And it's more fun too, which is the real important thing. Mark's oat scale, 60 years old. Wow, that's awesome. If I didn't find your old channel, you're gonna cry. Oh, Paul's got an old channel too. We've all got our secrets, our skeletons in the closet. Getting the railroad name nicely lined up here as I blab away. 2 upside down videos. Oh jeez. Yeah, mine at least wasn't that bad. I remember it was a game changer for me when I discovered that YouTube used to have a built-in video editor. And that was a game changer for me, because then all of a sudden, oh shoot, I can actually like record only like, I can record things in clips and not just have to put the camera down and then move and then pick the camera back up. And discovering editing was a big turning point, because then all of a sudden my videos actually became somewhat watchable, because I didn't have to always have the camera on. And then they did away with the YouTube video editor. Google did away with that. And then I was like, well, now I don't know what to do. So I kind of took a break from making YouTube videos for a little while, and then a couple of very short ones, I think. And then I discovered, and then I tried using, what's it called? I tried using iMovie for a little bit just on my old phone. But that only had one music track that I would use. There were like 2 music tracks that were like a minute long, and that just was awful. And then I got to school, and as part of school, I had to buy the Adobe Creative Cloud. And then I discovered Premiere Pro, and that's what I use to this day. So it's been 6 years now of me using Premiere. I've heard a lot of good things about DaVinci as well, but if I have the Adobe Creative Cloud, I might as well make use of Premiere Pro, and I've gotten pretty good at it at this point. So let's see. Too old for Minecraft to be your first video, so you did very dumb things inspired by Jackass. Oh jeez. 3DHP, welcome. Glad that you're here. Welcome from Vegas. Hopefully it's not too hot out there. He's got half of the road name, or half of the railroad name on the side of the boxcar here. I want to get some of the basic stuff on, and then we're going to jump to the more advanced level of detail. Yeah, that's very fair, Paul. I use too much stuff still. I got so used to using things in the Creative Commons, or the Creative Cloud rather, the different programs. Like on a regular basis, I use Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and Lightroom. So it's still worth it for me to pay annually for the Creative Cloud, but only barely. It's just too much money. It really shouldn't be so much money. Yeah, Premiere Pro's audio editing, like built in, is very nice. That's for sure. But yeah, I definitely understand if you wanted to escape paying Adobe. I wish I could, but I'm just... And I know there are free alternatives out there to all those programs, but it's like... at this point in my life, I don't know. I'm fine. I'm doing financially okay, enough that I can pay whatever is $100 and something a year. $160, $170 a year, something like that. Drop all that and buy more train stuff. Hey, you know, that's not a bad idea. But at some point I probably will wind up just switching away from Adobe into the free, or at least cheaper, world. I'm just too used to everything Adobe right now to do that. Trouble going in Inkscape. Down to the museum to record it for you. I wonder who that could be. I wonder who that could possibly be, Paul. That's so funny. Line it across. I'm just trying to make sure it's all aligned. We welcome new peasants. Still trying to figure out what you do with your railroad. One day you can start getting some Walters Code 83. Find a place that's not constantly sold out. Yeah, that is a struggle. Finding track is always a struggle. And you continuing to use Easy Track is not that big of a deal. I like to poke fun at it, but it's not terrible. It doesn't hold up long term is the biggest problem. At least for me, that was my biggest problem. Is after for a track that's designed to be taken apart and put back together, it really doesn't hold up to being taken apart and put back together very well, which was very frustrating for younger Dennis. But that was what I had because I got 2 big Bachmann starter sets when I was first getting into the hobby. One for my birthday, one for Christmas. That's what I was given. One had... Actually, still have... up here. I still keep some of the pieces of that train set. One of these days, I want to actually work on getting it all up and running again, just for fun. If you could generate and send PDFs, that would be nice, but you lose all the white text on that. Yeah, that stinks. So here is the power from the very first train set I got. It was a Bachmann F9A and well, 2 F9As. One's a regular, the other's a dummy. Maybe it was more like maybe I'm still on a student plan, Scott. That might be it. Which probably I shouldn't be, but don't tell Adobe. If you don't tell Adobe, I won't tell Adobe. But I think it's like $250, maybe $300 a year for me. I don't know. I think it's also cheaper if you do it annually instead of monthly, but I really can't remember. I get annually billed for that. Actually, my annual billing for that's coming up in September, so I should check on it then. But yeah, so that's my starter set. I got that starter set, and then I got a starter set that came with the powered A unit, the dummy A unit. It came with like 2 40-foot boxcars, a 50-foot boxcar, a tank car, and a caboose or something like that. And then I got a starter set that had the ubiquitous Bachmann 484, which ran actually okay for me for a while, and then threw its rod. Actually, it didn't just throw its rod. The what happened was the part that holds the whole rod assembly onto the chassis actually split along the screw that holds it in place on the underside, so it started like pulling apart away from the frame, and so that's been retired and on static display for a while, although I am interested in trying to restore it just to have a fully functional locomotive again, but we'll see. Scott, thank you for that. I appreciate your silence. Yeah, Unitrack is such a for what it's designed to do, which is be a track system that you can easily take apart and put back together with fairly limited geometry. Unitrack just works so much better because it holds together a lot stronger. and it doesn't get damaged nearly as easily. So I wish I had got a Unitrack starter kit instead of Easy Track ones, but you know, ain't no cop. Oh, definitely not. No, Garrett. Who would sharing services? I don't even know what that would mean. Let's get a little more water under this decal. Oh, there's a little too much water under that decal. So, what did you guys all do this past week? Oh, I agree, Paul. I much prefer nowadays. I much prefer FlexTrack. But for starter kits and stuff where it's designed to be easy, it's meant to be taken apart and put back together. Yeah, and things like T-Track, which no one would ever want to do. No one would ever be interested in doing T-Track and emailing uploadexpressmodelers@gmail.com if they're a content creator or make model railroad videos or posts online and are interested in helping to promote the hobby and create some content. Definitely not. Worked. Yep. At the end of the day, if it works, it works. And if it makes you happy, that's all that's all that's important. And there we have the railroad's name on the side of the car. Balfour and Colucci Creek Southern. Right in between all of the... and actually there you can see how I use a slightly more modern font on these. On the 5344s. You can see there the more modernized font instead of my normal Railroad Roman, which I have used for basically everything up to this date. I might go back and re-letter my -8 and my -7 with it. The -7 would be a little harder. Because I've weathered it so heavily, and I really like the weathering job, so I probably wouldn't redo the -7. When did I say these were? When was the build date on these? 78. 78 would be after when the -7s came online, so or on property. So we can say that like 78 was when they updated their lettering scheme. So I have to look at what locomotives now need the updated lettering, and some would not get updated. Like I think the newly purchased Jeep 9s, the railroad bought. I can't remember. I think the railroad bought Jeep 7. I think I had it. So the railroad bought Jeep 7s in the 50s and Jeep 9s off of Conrail in the 80s. So those would still get the same lettering as the -7s, or as the Jeep 7s rather, for consistency across the fleet. And also because I didn't really want to design the same lettering that I designed for the Jeep 7 again for the Jeep 9, because it would all be basically the same. But we're going to go with consistency across the fleet, and that's what I keep going back and forth with the rock on whether or not I want it to be X New York Central or X Rocks, or if I want. I think at this point I've pretty definitively decided that I have to go back and look at things again, because I keep going back and forth. I was gonna have the Jeep 9s be Rock Island, but then the model that I have already has torpedo tubes, and the Rock Island, as far as I can find, never got torp tubes on their Jeep 9s. I could always take the torpedo tubes off, which is a very real possibility. Which I might wind up doing anyways. But I also do kind of like the way the torpedo tubes look on the top of the unit. But the model I have has torpedo tubes. And as far as I could tell, the Rock Island never got any. New York Central on the other hand, got them with torpedo tubes. Which is why I was potentially going to that. And then I was going to, okay, well maybe the Jeep 40s came secondhand from Rock Island. But then, the issue with that on the timeline... The issue with that on the timeline is that the Jeep 40 was supposed to be... is going to be my bicentennial unit. I've already got the scheme all designed, and I'm very happy with how it looks and all that, so I'm not really going to redesign that. But that would mean that the Jeep 40 has to be on property before 1976. So that's a problem there. So I keep having to massage things a little bit. I do really want to keep the Rock as part of the story because it's a neat little thing. But what I might... I don't know. I might just take the Rock out of the picture. I was basically what I was doing with the Rock is I was looking for roads in the 70s and 80s, mid 70s to early 80s that would be that were not in great financial shape and might be looking to offload some power. And the Rock fits that description. But what I might do instead, I don't know, because I also do like Paul has been a real instigator for me in developing my story, as I have been for him. Case in point. This is coming along nicely, by the way. I've got some basic weathering on the interior, as well as some little chunks taken out of the top rail of the gun. But that's if we get through these boxcars tonight. Then we can jump to that. But, Paul, because I decided that my SD40-2 was built, that my two SD40-2s were built to CNW spec, Paul suggested that maybe I go to having a working relationship with the CNW, which I kind of like. I really do kind of like the concept of that, because it kind of explains why an otherwise random decision of, oh, well, there's CNW spec, kind of how that came to be. But I haven't looked into or thought about it enough yet, so I'm just not sure yet. But it would be a really fun. But I just want connections like that to reality, because that's what helps, in my mind at least. That's a big piece and goes a long way in helping to sell the legitimacy. If you have connections and if you have, built out and fully fleshed out reasons and stories, even if they're post rationalizations, like a lot of what I've been doing has been. It just makes it feel so much more real. So that's kind of where that's going. But I really might go with the CNW story, and then I don't know, figure out how that works in with getting Jeep 40s off the CNW. It might be that I've got to look into. I have to go back and really look at how much. I have to decide how much power, but would my road need at a given time. Is kind of what I have to go back and really do. Because ideally, the Jeep 40, the bicentennial Jeep 40 would be fresh, would be firsthand. But I think what I'm going to do instead, I think what I decided on was Penn Central decided they wanted to offload 3 Jeep 40s. Maybe they were wrecked, not beyond use, but beyond Penn Central's ability to repair, and their absolutely shattered financial state in the, going into the mid 70s. And so I can have them on property before 76. I think that is what I went with. I have to go back and look at my documentation again, but I'm pretty sure that is what I went with, which is their own property before 76 by being X Penn Central units purchased in, I believe I said 74. It was either 74 or 75. I believe it was 74. Forgot to trim this decal before dipping it, which always stinks because then you gotta trim it while it's wet and then sliding everywhere. But that might be what I do then, Paul. That's a good idea. Yep. That's probably the smart way to do it, because then I can have a couple, 1 or 2 Jeeps with the C&W spec, and then the Penn Central spec for the other 3. And then, since that worked, then actually I like that. Thank you, Paul. I'm going to go with that. There you go, instigating again. But that's what I'm going to go with. And a big reason why I like that is because then it justifies, okay, well, start over. No, Adam, what you gotta do is you gotta come back tomorrow and rewatch it when you're, less sleepy. TLDR, I'm confused, but Paul is helping me in figuring out my story. But basically, I've been debating where my motive power comes from for the B&CCS for the past 25 minutes, probably 20-25 minutes. And what I've said is specifically Jeep 9s, Jeep 40s, because when I was first writing my story, or first writing my locomotive roster out, I decided that some power was going to come from a cash-strapped Rock Island, but I don't think that's going to work anymore with just the models that I already have. Specifically, it was going to be the Jeep 9s. Here's the TLDR. I was going to have X-Rock Jeep 9s, but the Jeep 9 model that I have has torpedo tubes. Rock Island didn't have torpedo tubes. Okay, well, I still like the Rock Island connection, so let's go with the Jeep 40s are X-Rock. Well, that doesn't work because I was going to have the purchase from the Rock be in, I think it was 78 or 79. And the G40 is supposed to be my bicentennial unit, which means it has to be on property in 76. So, the solution was, okay, secondhand units off of Penn Central. And that's the primary story that I'm going with. Purchased in 74, 3 units off the Penn Central. The story I'm going with is, alright, well, they were in a wreck, not damaged beyond all use, but damaged beyond the Penn Central's cash strap ability to repair them. So they sold them off, allowing me to pick them up in 74. And the reason they're going to pick up Jeep 40s is because they decided in the 60s to purchase a pair to C&W specs tagged onto a C&W order, which is what I already am doing with the SD40-2s in 75. I gotta look at the year that I put again. 73, 74, 75, something like that. Maybe B&L. Maybe the reason I went with Penn Central is because it's local. It'd be very easy for Penn Central to, for Penn Central to just shoot something down, from shoot power that's stored in Selkirk down the Hudson line, down the water level route to Poughkeepsie, and then onto the B&CCS property right there, or down the West Shore to, or not the West Shore. Well, yeah, down the West Shore and then up on the old Catskill branch, and eventually to Maybrook, and then get on property easy there. So basically the Jeep 40s, two of them, first two that are going to be on property are going to be C&W spec, purchased as, tagged on to a C&W Jeep 40 order. The other three are X-Penn Central units purchased in 74. And one of those is going to be the Bicentennial unit. So there's your TLDR for the Jeep 40s. Too long, didn't listen. TLDO. All right. Well, let's get our lift heres. Oh, I really should have spread those decals out a little bit more. Yes, that'll be the telltale mark of the C&W is going to be the nose gong bells. I'm going to do the nose gong bell, and on the 40-2, I'm going to try and get a rotating beacon light on the cab. Too long, didn't learn. Yeah, that's probably about accurate with all my ramblings, rantings, and ravings. Have a good one, Garrett. Thanks for tuning in. Always good to have you, my friend. Congrats on getting the Loc programmer up and running. I wish you luck on getting the program actually running on your computer. But it's good to have at least the hardware in place. And yeah, have a good rest of your night. I listen to Heath too much. Well, I think that's the problem, is I don't listen to Heath, so I don't learn from him. He goes on and on and on, and then I'm just like, all right, tune it out. And then I make his same mistakes. No. Serials. Few road switches for yard work because of how you want leased cars to be, because you want them to be leased cars for interchange. Cool. Yeah, the different strokes for different folks. Everyone's got everyone's story is going to be a little different. I'm basically planning on, that my story is basically that the B&CCS becomes a fairly large Class 2 regional road in the Northeast. So it's going to need a good, 15 or 20 or 25 locomotives at any given time. And I used the wrong side. No, I didn't. I just put the decal on upside down. There we go. No. This tiny little freaking decal. How can you? He's never on topic. Be careful. We'll summon him with our talking about him. What'd you buy? No, yeah, that definitely makes sense, Adam. It's very cool. And I agree. Hashtag blame Heath. Always blame Heath. I am 100% on board with that. Of course, then that very quickly becomes blame Dennis when I'm actually at Heath's, but as Paul knows. Good. Have a good evening, Kyle. Thanks for tuning in for a while. Good luck with the rest of your work night. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Oh yeah, another reason why I settled So my plan, Paul, is for the hospital branch to be B&CCS run. But my plan is also not to have anything that's overtly B&CCS actually on the layout. So if I want to, I can swap B&CCS power for New Haven power and just model it as if it's the New Haven. You know, if I want to have New Haven sessions or if I want to have B&CCS sessions, basically. You are very good at summoning Dennis's to stream. For some reason, every single time you talk about me, there I am. He's probably in a box. Oh, jeez. It's probably with one of his. It's probably on one of his shelves. He put it in the shelves that he built on stream. Yeah, kind of. That way I can, because I do very much enjoy running New Haven stuff always, and you know, part of the story is that the New Haven went into the B&CCS. The issue, of course, was running New Haven diesels on the issue with running New Haven diesels on the hospital branch for me would be that the New Haven purchase went through after the Maybrook line, and therefore the hospital branch was already sold off to the B&CCS. So it's not exactly accurate to the story, but it's also fun. So, rule of cool applies. Well, you see it, Paul. The issue with that is that the banana was lost post us being there. It was just before the op session he had this past weekend. So, unless you have a time-traveling nose, which, to be fair, I don't know if you do or don't have a time-traveling nose. This is coming along very nicely. I'm very pleased with how this is coming out. I don't think it has. I mean, it's possible, but I thought it was he lost it when he was looking for his tablet reason, you know, this past like Wednesday or Thursday or something. I may be mistaken on that one then. At least he did find the tablet, yes. There we go. Got the decal on the model, which is a good starting point. For moving tiny decals around, I've found, honestly, the best tool. Well, there's two very good tools. You've got the tip of an X-Acto blade, which, of course, you run risk of damaging the decal. But it does work very well. But what I found even better, honestly, in some cases, is these tiny little. Oh, yep. Thank you, Adam. Just gotta put the light up here. That way I can't possibly bonk it. But these tiny little cotton swabs. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby. They're little pointy cotton swabs, and right out of the package, they don't work super well for moving decals. But once they've been soaked and dried a little bit, they start to, the fibers start to come out, and they grab the decal very nicely and allow me just to push it around ever so carefully. So, highly recommend these. Alright, so I'm going to get a couple more of these decals on here, and then I think I am going to jump real quick to showing off the hospital branch, because we've been talking about it for a while now. Where's the 50K? Oh, now I need to bring this back down. There, that is that. Okay. I just cut into another decal. Dang it. The issue with white decals is that they're freaking impossible to see on the blue decal paper sheets. What is that other decal there? Let me pull up the order that I sent to Fusion Scaled. Let's see, it would be in my paint schemes folder, it would be in my decals folder, it would be labeled thusly. He's not even here anymore. He's just that good. He is simply that good. Salute him. He's so good, you gotta salute him. I just need to figure out what this decal here is, and then we can continue on with our adventure. It's just too small for me to read. Unlatch to close. Okay. And that would go right there. Okay. I don't know if I'm actually going to even use that one. Someone remind future Dennis that he should leave a little more space on his decal sheets. Especially when he has space to spare. Right, well, now I've got to put this decal on before I lose half of it. Here's the other piece of it. You know what? At least I split it not in the middle of a letter. There we go. Yeah, actually, of all the places that I could have possibly split this decal, this might have been one of the best. So, that's good at least. Just push this up. I feel like I had an unfinished thought earlier, but I don't remember it. If anyone remembers an unfinished thought that I had and wants to share it, feel free. But otherwise, I won't worry about it. There we go. Alright, now let's get this 50K on there. I'm kind of amazed with my Paul. That's a really good one, Paul. That is excellent joke, my friend. Very well done. Where's this 50K supposed to go? I think right here. I'm honestly kind of impressed at myself at how many tiny little freaking decals I've managed to squeeze onto this boxcar sheet. Spin that. Siphon away some of the water. Center that right there. There we go. Oh, me too, Paul. Me too. My desk space is full of them. I mean, just right here, directly in front of me, I have not one, not two, but 3 locomotive chassis without frames on them because their frames are in various states of... Actually, no, I lied. I have 4. Four locomotive chassis with no shells on them on my desk right now. We've got, this is going to become the Bicentennial Jeep 40. It's already got a decoder in it, which is very nice. I'm glad that I have that. But I've got to get the shell painted. I've got, this is going to be the New Haven FA. This guy right here, which I touched up the stripes, and they are looking pretty good at this point. I'm pretty happy with these 2 stripes. This is going to be the FB. And this is the SD40-2, which needs to get its shell. I've been procrastinating stripping the shell because I kind of don't want to, because it's kind of sad to see it go. But what I think I'm going to do is once I order the detail parts that I need for the SD40-2, then I'll strip it. But until then, I won't, because it's kind of nostalgic, you know. So I have those. I have a locomotive here waiting for weathering. I have the same another U25B up here that needs a decoder. I could sit here for... I've got my Jeep 7 and my Jeep 9, both of which need paint. Those are off to the side here. I've got an F40 that needs a decoder. I've got a RS1 that's waiting to be chopped up and turned into a little critter. Oh, so many. little projects everywhere. And before I lose this decal, I really should just apply it as well before I forget about it. So, you and I are very much alike in that fact, Paul. And that's just what's here. Let's bring the shell back into frame here. Oh, come on. Don't do that. There we go. I'm super impressed. I doubt you'll be able to see this on the stream camera, but in the Discord, which there's a link to in the bottom of the description for anyone who's new around here, I have a Discord server for my community here, and after stream Monday nights I always try and share higher quality photos of what I've been working on. But I've got these tiny little arrows on this decal set, and they show up super well, despite the fact that they are like actually like a half a millimeter or something long. That goes to here. Okay. Yeah. Well, it shouldn't, Paul. I don't think it should. That's what's so nice about it, is that it's a, you know, I try not to say too much, but it's very, the fact that it's very self-contained means that there's a very defined, like, it's very easy to just get it done. And there's very, very little wiring that needs to get done for what you're talking about. If you want to learn more, there will be more coming soon on that front. But yeah, okay, cool. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. That sounds probably more economical than the ones that I get, because the ones I get, it's like 50 for, I don't know, it's like 50 swabs for like $5 or something at Hobby Lobby, because it's Hobby Lobby. So I'm not surprised that there are more economical sources, so I appreciate you sharing that. I will probably, when I run out of these, that's probably what I'll go to. There we go. Got that. Oh my gosh, this is making me so excited. Seeing this really come together here is making me very excited. Let's see. So bring this down so I can actually see what the decals are that I'm dealing with here. Okay, that's the door opening information. Very nice, Adam. Yeah, thank you again for sharing. That's super cool. I'll definitely take a look at those after stream. And this goes, if I'm not mistaken, this goes on this rivet line. Let me quickly pull up a photo for reference. Okay, no, so that's rivet line, so it's here. Okay. Come on. Oh, all you see is my big fat head. Oops, sorry guys. Just really had to get in there for a minute and look closely. I need to pick this up for a minute, so I'll be off screen just for a second here while I really make sure that this is aligned correctly. There we go. Perfect. Beautiful. Right in between the ribs on the door. Alright, let's get this guy. Sounds good, Scott. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I will be sending you the best of luck when you get around to this. I gotta watch your most recent your first layout update video. I gotta see what's going on in the Winchester and Western. For anyone who doesn't know, Scott has posted his first couple videos on his work in progress layout, so I highly recommend y'all go check it out because it looks like it's going to be a very nice layout. So, thanks for tuning in, Paul. Thanks for tuning in, Scott. Jeez, talking to Paul too much. Thanks for tuning in, Scott. Glad to have you here, and I look forward to watching your layout update video. Okay. You're not going anywhere. Sean, good evening. Good to have you here, my friend. I have been decaling up a storm on this boxcar. Let me tell you that. I have applied so many decals in the last hour and a half, hour 45. And there's still a number to go, so. Okay, let me get this decal sheet out of here. There we go. Some weird tiny scaled stuff. Oh, what's that all about, Paul? He had some normal scale stuff. Yeah, for a certain project that will be kicking off in August. August 15th, that's right, just over 2 weeks. Which, that's wild. And what that means is I need to kick my butt in gear because I've got a couple videos that I want to get out before that happens. There's a couple videos that I want to get out, and then I also have to work on that, so... Adam. I need to pick this up again just to really look. Scoot it up just enough. There we go. Got that one on, which means I should have 3 more door decals to go, and then I've only got, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4 more decals to go on the side of the car. And then we'll quickly put on some end decals. Actually, honestly, I might not even do that. I might just leave it there as far as the decals go tonight. And then just get, just pull up some information on the hospital branch quickly, because I've been chatting about it all night and I want to share. I want to share what I've learned. Which, to be fair, at this point, really isn't a ton. But it's enough. There we go. Nice clean cut down the middle between those 2 decals. Hospital bridge. Woo! It really is just such a neat little line. You're trying to be set up for the next month after surgery to do. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. That sounds like a great plan, Adam. Keep you inside for the rest of the the hotness of the summer. So this one would be that decal, which means it goes right here. Shush. Oops. Somehow dropping my mouse accidentally launched Steam. No, go away. Go away, Steam. Not at this time. Don't forget to make my lunch. That's pretty much what that alarm is, Paul. Yeah, 30. Once you get like really into biking, it's so nice. I think it was either last summer or 2 summers ago. I was regularly doing like 20. I was regularly doing like 20-mile bike rides, which was super nice. It was 10 miles out, 10 miles back, all along the Dutchess County Rail Trail, which is basically the old Maybrook line. Well, there's no basically about it. It is the old Maybrook line. And the section that I was biking still had rails alongside the trail, because it's the section between Hopewell Junction and Brewster, New York. So that was always super interesting, and it was a good ride too, because the whole ride out was going up Stormville Mountain, which, along the railroad line was just shy of a 2% grade. So it was no cakewalk going up. It was a nice breeze coming back. That was really just kind of a fun ride down, but it was a hard 10 miles out. And I want to get back to that point. My goal. I was hoping that this summer would be the summer where I could do more biking, but I need a new bike rack to put my bike in my car. Also, warning to let the dogs out for the last time. But yeah, so I need a bike rack for my car in order to bring my bike to get serviced and to bring it out to the trail. Theoretically, I could bike to the trail, but I still need to get it serviced. It's been a couple years since it's been tuned up, and it's time. So, unfortunately, no biking really for me this summer. But going into the fall, I may be able to do some. Right now, I just got to make sure those two decals are aligned. Oh, hey, there's a camera angle that allows you guys to actually, or a light angle that allows you guys to actually see everything. Yeah, nice, Adam. Come on, grip. There we go. Do I really need all this detail on here? No. No, absolutely not. I don't need all these decals on here, but it's fun for me, so I'm doing it. See, you used to do bike tune-ups when you worked at Dick's for a college job. Yeah, that's nice. Too busy with model railroading. Oh man, that would be nice, Adam. That must have been those must have been very nice days. My longest day. Actually, this is kind of impressive. I did a 50-mile day when I was I think I was 13. My scout troop was biking 100 miles along the Erie Canal over the course of a weekend. Well, it was an extended weekend. It was for spring. It was going into spring break. But I did 50 miles in a day, which doesn't, that's a respectable amount. Doesn't sound like a ton, though, until you realize that it was on a Walmart bike, which was, like, actively falling apart as I was riding it. And then all of a sudden it seems a little more impressive that I actually survived that 50 miles. $108 miles. That is a heck of a day, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a good ride. That's a real strong ride right there. Let's just get this positioned. Oh, this might be my first time that I really fully need the microsole to get it to settle. Oh, jeez. Yeah, what happened on my Walmart bike was I just, like, lost the ability to switch into, like, half of the gears. They just stopped, like, working. Like, the shifter just wouldn't go into gear. It wouldn't catch the gear. Luckily, when I went to school, actually it was over COVID, so it was a year after I went away to school. But while I was up at school, we got a very nice bike off of Facebook Marketplace. It's probably like a $500 bike, and we got it for like $150. And it was in pretty much, it was in a fine condition. It was not like damaged or anything. So it was just a great deal. So the guy just didn't ride it anymore and wanted it out of his house. Okay, the door is done. Door is done. So now I think, all right, we do the car data, then we do the coach boxes, we do the plate C, and then we wrap it. We finish it off with the logo. And then we talk for a little while about the hospital branch, and then I let everyone go to sleep. I stop holding the stream hostage. Yeah, what was the brand of my bike? Was it a Trek? No, that's not it. I don't remember. I don't remember what brand my bike is. I wish I did. But I just can't recall it off the top of my head right now. But I remember we looked it up after we bought the bike, and it was, it was a $450, $500 bicycle. Schwinn. Yes, I know Schwinn's pretty good. Oh, God, I can't remember what brand my bike is, though. It's my bike is still definitely a hybrid, but it leans much closer to road bike than it does mountain bike. It's got fairly thin tires. I'm like Googling bike brands right now to try and recall what brand my bike is. Marin. It's a Marin. That's what it is. Yeah. It's a Marin. And it has served me well over the past 4 years now? 4.5 years now that I've had it, I think. If somewhere between 4 and 5, I think. Very nice. That seems to have frame. Very nice pull. And that's a heck of a progression, Adam. And 55 pounds for the e-bike doesn't sound tremendous, because I know those things can get pretty heavy. So that's I don't have a great perception of that, but that's from what I know, the little bit I know about e-bikes, that seems pretty good. So there's the coat squares on there. 25% is the battery. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I imagine the rest is the frame to hold the battery, the motors, all that good stuff. Honestly, I think it would be a lot of fun to do another Erie Canal bike trip, but like do it like focusing on rail fanning. Because the nice thing about the Erie Canal is a lot of the locks are like little state parks, basically, and a good number of them you can actually camp at, like set up a tent at. So you can just kind of make your way along the canal, and there's trails for a good chunk of the way. Some parts you're definitely riding on. You're riding on roadways and stuff like that. It's not 100% trails, but it's a fair chunk of trails because trains. There it is. Hope you can buy a decent amount of trains to buy this weekend. If not, you're worried because trains. Oh shoot! Oh, I put these decals on. One bay too far over. Both of these sets of decals. All right. Well, let me get the plate C in. And then I'll worry about moving these decals over. Ooh, nice ball. But yeah, I know, especially through like a fair chunk of, the eastern side of the canalway, it parallels the rail line. I know as you get west, it starts to deviate a little bit in places, but not too much. So I think it'd be a great avenue for rail fanning. Let's see there. Coats box in place. Slide those over. Now absorb all this excess water quickly. Or we accidentally move that decal. 13 miles an hour that's pretty good. Very nice, Adam. Very nice. Yeah, I always see you posting your Strata screenshots into Keith's server. It's good stuff. Nope, don't do that. There we go. And that leaves the pièce de résistance, the final decal for the flat part of the boxcar. Just need to adjust this slightly more now that I'm really looking at it. My logo. Whoa, flying decal sheet. So I am a little worried about how this is going to go on because I thought I tried shrinking it down to fit between the but I just didn't like it. So I did go with the wings of my logo going up and over, but I think I stretched it enough that it should be, it shouldn't look too scrunched. Get rid of that. That's now garbage. Tweezers. Grab the decal, dunk it. While it's soaking for a minute, let me pull up my information on Hospital Branch. There it is. Alright, I've got it pulled up now, so now we can place the decal. It's really Get it soaked in water. Here we go. Alright, while we're waiting for that water to dry, because I want to let the water pretty fully dry, but that is... Oh, no one yelled at me. You guys, you gotta yell at me. I was not on stream. But there it is, minus really settling this decal on. So let me, while we're waiting for that, it's hospital branch time. So this is the Poughkeepsie Hospital branch. So we have orange here is the Maybrook line, gray here is the water level route, and the blue is the hospital branch going through the city of Poughkeepsie. Paul, I'm glad you at least got to see the hospital branch before you left real quick. I'll just do a very quick run through of it for you before you fully tap out. But we break off the Maybrook, go east to Smith Street Yard, which is right here. There's a small yard as well as the Efron Flour Company and the scrap metal. Then you take the switchback underneath the Maybrook line out along a couple of different industries, including right here, which was the final diamond left in Dutchess County. The one siding came up like this, and the other siding went like that, creating a diamond right here. Last diamond surviving in Dutchess County. Continued north up to the Hudson River State Hospital, which is right here. There was all sorts of trackage. There was a supply house here, but there was a big long lead track out this way, allowing trains to shove down into the power plant for the hospital here. I believe it was, I can't remember if it's either 6 or 8 coal cars a day to the power plant. And then you take the second switchback down along New York Route 9, actually underneath New York Route 9, and hook in just north of the Poughkeepsie train station. And that is the Poughkeepsie Hospital branch as a very, very quick overview for you, Paul, as you tap out. But thanks for tuning in, Paul. Always glad to have you here. But so I'm really interested in the hospital branch because it's pretty local to me. I mean, I go through Poughkeepsie all the time. I actually work in the city of Poughkeepsie, or in the town of Poughkeepsie, so it's easy for me to get there. And each one of these dots here is it's an industry. So this is the Smith Bros Manufacturing Company. That had a siding at one point. Now it's currently, I believe, the Dutchess County Justice Center. But there used to be a factory on this plot here. This is now currently the Schatz Bearing Company, but there used to be the Federal Bearing Company here. They produced bearings. And they had a light track and a heavy track. So, I have to do research into that, but 2 tracks at one industry sounds like a recipe for fun, especially when, like I said, there's a diamond involved. That's the kind of thing that a lot of people would just throw onto the railroad as a fun, to add interest. This is what actually existed on this location. A little further down the line, we have J.C. Paper Company. Their spur was a trailing point back to this side where the loading dock was. So it broke off, and it was, I believe, a fairly substantial grade down to here. Then we meet the Y and continue up. I've already showed you the State Hospital. I've roughly figured out where it weaved. It weaved right between these 2 buildings here. There was a crossing at grade right here, which would need to be flagged. You cut right in between. There was a building right here, which has burned down. Right behind these two buildings, sneak behind the main building here. Another crossing at grade. All the crossings at grade, none of them on this whole line, none of them were signaled. They all needed to be flagged, which adds another piece of operational interest for me. Because now you got to stop before every grade crossing and flag it before you can continue through, whether you're doing switching or not. This was a warehouse, which actually was rail served at one point. So I plan on, when I do finally wind up modeling this, I do plan on modeling that spur. Like I said, the nice long lead out to here, and then a cut back in. And actually right about here, we split to 2 tracks, and there was a trestle over this little road. So down here it's at grade. Up here we are about, I want to say 12 feet above grade to go over the coal bins, which were right back here. And you can actually, if I zoom in, oh, there it is. You can see this is the abutment for the trestle that crossed over the, and you can see how wide it is from here to here. That would be 2 tracks. And then you cut back. Once you're done serving the hospital, you cut back down onto the lower branch. This is currently Home Depot. At one point it was Western Printing. Now this is the one. This was Western Printing. There was a substantial grade from the line. It was, I think, a 4% grade up to the loading docks at Western Printing. Here you have Star Gas, which got propane tank cars. Hudson Casting. It was, I believe, I can't remember if it's an iron casting works or a aluminum casting works, but they got, I believe, coil cars in. I have to do so much more research, and it's hard because there's not a ton about this available online. But they were a casting company. I believe they had 2 tracks. I have a track diagram somewhere. And then you cut back down right along New York Route 9 to the Poughkeepsie Eastern Yard, which was the water level route interchange where cars could come off of the New York Central and onto the New Haven, and in my history, onto the B&CCS. So that is, at least that's the northern side of the hospital branch. There's a couple more industries down on the south end, and basically what I imagine for operating this layout is you have two two-man crews. You have a yard crew and you have a road crew. The yard crew is sorting out Smith Street Yard, taking things from the New Haven interchange down into the yard, and switching these industries on the south end of the layout. The road crew picks up a train from Smith Street, goes out along the road down to the New York Central interchange, and comes back. And that's kind of the 2 crews that I imagine this layout having. But so you got EFCO, which had a couple sidings here. They're a flour company. They got they were a baking company, really. They got a number of covered hoppers, both flour and sugar, I believe. This is the location of the Smith Street Yard. That was, I believe, I have to go back and look again, but it's either a 5 or 6 track yard that was here. You've got this spur that broke off here, goes to the Loam Wood Company, which was a lumber yard. And then you've got Efron Scrap, which was right here and got served via this spur here. So you had these, 4 industries over here, plus the yard for the yard crew to work on, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 customers and an interchange for the road crew to work. So I think that a layout like this especially if it's in like a 10 by 10 space roughly, maybe a little bigger. I'm imagining it could keep a crew of 4 busy for a few hours, just doing the work of the day. And in my pipe dream, both the New Haven and New York Central are little loops, so every now and again you get a mainline train that just comes through automatically, probably through. I would imagine it would be either, if I'm not part of the crew, maybe I run the road trains that just come by sporadically, or otherwise it might be ISE motormen could do the job of every now and again just randomly sending a train through, but I don't know. But this is where I'm at as far as knowledge on the hospital branch, pretty much. I have this, which I've cobbled together through stories that I've heard, plus the track diagram that I got, and I've got a couple pictures, and that's all I've got. So I want to learn more, but from everything I'm seeing, this is like the perfect shelf layout. So that's the plan, and I might even, depending on when I get into it, because I know there was also some track work. There was a lumber yard down here as well, right on the river, that also got rail served. So I might even add that on as a secondary, or as a one final thing. So, but anyways, that's that for the hospital branch. Let me quickly throw some microsol on this decal. Yeah, this is going to be a whenever I get around to having the space and the time and the money to design and build this layout, this is going to be a phenomenal shelf layout. And it's definitely going to be my next layout, unless I find something even more interesting to me, which I highly doubt. I can say with 95% certainty that this will be my next layout. The only that 5% is if I build a small like mobile switching layout like I have right now. If I rebuild this layout basically, which I have considered, because it's not a strong. It's not a good base. There were some issues that come from how I built it, because I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. So that's the only other possibility, is in which case it would be 2 layouts from now, but I'm fairly certain that this will be my next layout. So that's where we are at. And like I said earlier, the plan would be for it to be, primarily in the B&CCS, using B&CCS power. But I also want at least a few New Haven switchers. Maybe they're, I don't know, maybe the the B&CCS is borrowing them from the New Haven for the time, for the time being. Maybe the power that normally works, the B&CCS power that normally works the line is out of commission, and so they sent it over to the Balfour Locomotive Works, and instead are borrowing some power from the shared yard at Danbury or something like that. But historically, this would have been a New Haven run rail line, so I do want to pay homage to that by having the ability to swap to New Haven. And it would also still be set in the 70s and 80s, which is just because that's the era that I found I really enjoy modeling. I enjoy the road names. I enjoy the weathering. I enjoy the motive power. So alright, I might wrap the stream here and then just continue fiddling with the with a decal here to really get it to nicely wrap these pillars. But this is the B&CCS boxcar PS5344 in N scale, with every little detail that I could possibly find to put on it. So there it is. It's real. It's in real life now. So I'm super happy to have this now. I know I said we were going to try and do 2 boxcars tonight. Well, guess what? We did half a boxcar. So that it goes to show you how much work I had to put into this, more than I thought I was going to. But thanks, Adam. Thanks for sticking around to chat with me. Thanks everyone else who stuck around to enjoy me working on this car. Like I said, once I finish just fiddling with this logo to get it to sit right, I will be taking some pictures, putting them up on my Discord. Link is in the bottom of the description, or you can scroll up in the chat from when Paul posted it if you are interested in joining in there. Cole King, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. I'm super happy with it, so I'm glad that you guys are liking it too. But I think that's where I'm going to wrap for the night. You know, we've been going for a little over 2 hours now, so it's time. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in tonight, y'all. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night and wonderful rest of your week. Keep an eye out for a video coming later this week from me on a new product available on the market right now, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys on the next track.